first.
Hello, heroes, villains, and innocent bystanders. Welcome to another episode of A Girl and Her Unicorn comic book reviews, where we'll be spoiling the week's comics and going over general comic hubbub and fun things. So if you don't like spoilers or you haven't read your comics for the week, you may want to pause for a minute, take a moment to read, and then come back and see us again. Eventually, we'll try to have the times in the subscription or the description below so you can skip right to it. But otherwise, let's get started before we get rebooted.
Yeah, rebooted, exactly. All right, what do you got this week?
You've got something more exciting. I'm going to let you go first because this is what all the hubbub in the world has been about.
Which I think is really funny.
I think it's hysterical. I've read a couple articles and it's pretty interesting.
I'm not sure, and I wonder if maybe I'm too desensitized to things where it's like, I don't see what the big deal is over
I think the whole big... Okay, so if you've lived under a rock in the comic community, you may not realize what's going on. So DC has started their Black Label, their adult comic books, which I don't
Launched
think
Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't think they're talking about quite adult, like as in like pornography or anything like that. It's just more adult themes and stuff like that.
Not meant for children.
But this particular issue, now I have not read it, but I have read the
It's pretty great.
the articles about it, and it is apparently there is bat boy parts in here.
Yes. Full frontal
For Batman.
Yes.
And so there's been some big hubbub about his...
There has been all kinds of controversy about this.
His special purpose.
Sorry, special purpose. So this is Batman Damned. Yes, Black Label, book 1, just launched Wednesday. It is by Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo. And so big hubbub is you do get to see Bruce Wayne's penis in this book. But honestly, I thought this book was so well done. I don't see what the big deal... Men have penises. Hi.
Yeah.
It's just...
People realize how that goes.
Yeah, saying. Right? I mean, if you didn't know, hey, by the way.
Which I think is really funny. Like I said, I didn't read it, but I kind of skimmed through it at the comic book shop because I heard about all the stuff that was going on and I heard that you were going to get it. So I was like, and Mike told me, our the guy that runs our store was telling me about, there's bat penis. So I'm like, of course I had to look.
Of course you have to look.
But I looked at the whole thing and, honestly, that was, the least adult theme I thought for the whole book.
For the entire book. The art is so well done. I'm not familiar with Lee Bermejo's work. Let's story first.
Yeah.
So
I want to talk about the art too, just because I looked at it.
Honestly, it's going to be kind of a hard book to review simply because it's a little bit all over the place. Constantine is narrating the book, and so the way it is laid out is it's like short little burst of words and then a few word bubbles throughout. So Batman is injured and he has fallen. And trying to see where I would want to, but I mean you can just see it. The art is the thing.
Do you kind of feel like this is an Elseworld book? I feel like from looking from it, it didn't feel quite as it was.
It's completely
DC. Yeah.
The all of the Black Label stuff will be completely separate from continuity as we know it. So it is definitely Elseworlds. A lot of the Elseworld stuff is being re-released as Black Label. So New Frontier, Earth One, I think all of that is going to fall under
more adult themes. Yeah.
Yes. And so Batman is injured. He's falling from a bridge, and it's just kind of as you're going throughout, he's having these flashbacks with his parents. And again, with the Elseworlds, it kind of seems like Thomas Wayne is having an affair, possibly. And then Constantine shows up and is just talking to him. And you come to find out that Batman, while he's injured, he finds out that someone has killed Joker. And no one knows what's going on. And so once Constantine tells him this, he leaves to try and find out, his detective kicks in here and he's going to find out, what exactly has happened to the Joker. Is he really dead? Who killed him, because he has all of these spots in his memory basically where he has no idea what's going on. And Deadman shows up, which I like.
Yeah, I like him as a character. He used to be in the old Justice League Dark, and I really liked him.
Yes, I'm liking his character a lot. And so as you go throughout the book, it's pacing with this incident has happened to Batman where he's hurt. He's having these flashbacks where he apparently has had some conversations with the Enchantress as a child. And so I don't know much about her.
It seems like a very little, almost Justice League Dark book.
Yes, there's a lot of magic.
More magic and horror.
Constantine, like I said, is narrating. Zatanna shows up. Deadman is here.
Tales of the Spectra.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who that character is, honestly. But, I mean, just, it's so well put together.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to... This first issue, that's what you're getting, is that somebody's killed Joker, Batman is hurt, Constantine is narrating, and you have they're kind of introducing these characters. So you don't really know what's going on other than he's being tormented. Batman's being tormented in some way, and he's trying to figure out exactly...
If he's killed the Joker,
yeah, did he do it? Who did it? He doesn't think he did it, but who did it, and so you don't know, like, how is Zatanna and how is Deadman playing into this story? Is Constantine helping him? Is he just here, kind of the way Constantine is? It's just like, I don't know what you're doing.
Constantine is definitely a character where it is, he does a lot more chaos, I think, sometimes for the greater good or his greater good. Mm-hmm. So it just really, a lot of times it depends on how they're going to write him. So I'm curious to see if they continue, since this is like more of an Elseworld book, if they're going to be more of a stick to the characters.
How they are.
Yeah, how they are in the book. Or if they're going to be completely kind of different personalities. Because it does seem like they are a little bit more
They're a little different, I feel like. From what I know of the characters, I feel like they're very different from how it's been written before, which is fun. I mean, that's what you want from this Black Label. You don't just want another Elseworlds we've seen before, but... So just from the story.
A lot of times, though, when they write stuff like that, I think I have a little bit of an issue. Not a big issue, but it is kind of like, instead of making it darker with the characters that they have, they tend to try to make it dark on purpose. Yeah. And sometimes it can feel very forced when they make like a adult label. Marvel did it back in the day. They did the... wasn't Marvel Knights? What was it?
Is it like a Max something?
Yes, the Max series, and they made like Punisher, and they just went completely crazy,
right?
And it was just like they almost went crazy just because they could. And so sometimes I feel like with adult labels, they try to make it go too far.
Yeah.
So they have to. I'm hoping they. I'm sure they.
I personally didn't feel like this was forced.
That's
like
good.
Even from everyone making such a big deal about the nudity side of it. When I was reading it, that was the least, it didn't matter. When you turn it made sense. This was, he was stripping off his costume, this is just, and it actually, to me, added to the sense of, the raw...
realism.
Yes, the realism of the story by him drawing that there,
See, and that's one thing, so with the art, I think it definitely lent itself to this... the darker image of the Batman. It was a lot more grittier and almost very realistic.
Yes.
Even his costume is very realistic and militaristic.
Yes.
Where it's
you could recognize the pieces of the costume as being clothes that people wear.
And it almost looks like, a lot of times it almost looks like it's an armor.
Yes.
He has very patchy armor aspects to it. And that was one thing that when they did show the Bat Special Purpose, that I really liked, because they kind of showed him out of costume. Like you said, he was getting undressed, but they showed that all that armor and the Kevlar.
The pieces.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, and that was one thing that I thought was funny, because after looking at it, Mike made a big, huge deal out of it, which I thought was really funny.
Very funny.
And the internet's blowing up.
Yes.
But, honestly, it's it's in shadow. You see it.
Yeah, no, it's in there
which, by the way, this is not natural. If this was natural, I don't think Selena would have left him.
No.
Ever in a day.
My crush on Batman kind of went up a little bit.
Yeah.
But honestly, this right here is more if you want to be sexy, seeing the backside, it was hi.
Yeah. Like you said, I think it really, just from breezing through it, I think it definitely fit into it. So
the art definitely, for issue 1, there is some story building happening, but you don't really know where this is going. I have no idea where we're going with this story. Really, all it did story-wise was just, here are the characters. Set things up. Here are the characters. This is what's happened. Yeah. But you really don't know how these characters are going to interact with each other, what their purpose is. But the art told so much of the story, whereas, it was just beautiful, beautiful art. I'm very excited for issue 2. I will definitely be picking this up.
Now, do you know, I haven't read a lot about the Black Label, but do you know if they're going to do them all in the magazine size? Because they are, it is a bigger book, where it is instead of being a a regular comic book. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's that bigger magazine size, which I think will be a little bit off-putting for some of the collectors and stuff because they get
Yeah,
annoyed. 'Cause
that,
they
yeah.
can't
I've
fit
already
it in their
heard a
bag.
little. Yeah, I've already heard a little bit of people like, why did they do that? I didn't know that this was going to be magazine style, or magazine
I
size.
think it's kind of neat.
I like
I
it.
really
Like
like
I
it,
felt
yeah.
like it added to the overall. Like this is Black Label. This is something different.
Yeah.
To me, it added to it. It added to the.
Well, even the art, like I think you saw it a lot
Feel.
better, and was a different kind of paper.
Yes.
And you could tell the quality was a lot
the
different.
quality was very, very high, very high. But I mean,
So you'll be picking up issue 2.
I will definitely be picking up issue 2. I mean,
What kind of rating would you give it?
I would give it honestly like a solid like 4.5 even.
Oh,
Like
that's
I
good,
mean, it's very, very well, like it feels so well put together, well thought out. Like even though as a reader you don't know exactly where it's going,
Mm-hmm.
you're okay with that because it was displayed in such a
And I have heard that
elegant
if
way.
you are offended by the Bat boy part, that they have edited it for the
reprint.
digital,
Mhm.
and they have edited it for the reprints.
Yes.
So if you're a collector, getting the first print is definitely going to be a tipping point or difference.
Mhm.
And if you are offended and just want to read the story, then you may want to wait and get a second printing or
Yes.
download it digitally, and
Because it already has been
you won't be offended
removed.
by the
If you are offended by boy parts,
yeah.
just wait. But honestly, I mean, solid 4.5 for me.
Awesome.
I will definitely be picking up the next issue. I'm very excited about this series. I think it's neat. I love what they're doing with it, and I love that Justice League Dark
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yes,
this is
I
up.
know.
This is up my
Yeah.
alley. So I like this a lot.
Great.
So highly
That's awesome.
recommend it.
Off to a great
Bermejo is
start.
amazing. I was so
So-
impressed.
I actually had quite a few books this
You
week.
do?
I know. I was really surprised at the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm gonna do the first one. I think I'm gonna do is Buffy, the Vampire Slayer. It's the season 12, number 4. So what they did with Buffy is they discontinued the TV show,
Okay.
and then they started doing the comic books in seasons.
Okay.
And so they would end it after so many issues, and that would be like one season, and then so on and so forth. So this
I did not know that.
is the last season.
Oh,
They
that seems like a big deal.
yes, they have. There has been talks that somebody has acquired the rights to Buffy, and so they have been set to discontinue the series. So this one is the last comic book that's going to
Okay.
come out, and they are hopefully going to do a new TV series. I've heard that it's supposed to be a reboot, but I don't know if they're going to continue with a different Buffy or if they're going to continue
Okay.
with a different character altogether. But this one was kind of interesting to see the ending of the era for Buffy. The story was by Josh Whedon and Christopher Gage, which they have done several of them, especially
Okay.
Christos. He's been around with it for several years.
And Joss Whedon did the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, he was the one that created it, and he started the seasons off, and then he's continued on with it. And then the pencils were George Genty.
Looks very much like my name from here.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it's quite Jenny, but
No, but just looking at it from here with my eyes, I'm like,
But he's been with the book a couple times. Like
Okay.
he's did a couple of the seasons, and they kind of switched artists a little bit for a couple seasons, and then they brought him back for the last final one. So in this book, it's the ending. They have Buffy the Slayer's powers have been taken by this guy from the future, who was.
Okay.
Josh Whedon did a book called Frey, and it was the Slayer in the future, where there
Okay.
was no more Slayer. She was the only Slayer, and so she becomes a Slayer. She realizes what she is. Hilarity ensues. But her twin brother becomes a vampire, and her twin brother
Oh, no.
actually gets the memories from all the Slayers. So they end up. So instead
that
of
could be bad.
transferring to a girl or the
Next
actual
Slayer.
Slayer, it is transferred to her twin brother, who becomes a vampire, and that's the only reason that it saves him from going insane, because apparently a boy or a male cannot handle the visions from being a Slayer, and that's why there is no male Slayers. So yeah, it's just the mythos. So this they have come to the current time with Buffy, and Buffy's went and got Frey, which is the other Slayer from the other time, and brought them back, and they're fighting her brother.
Okay.
And so he has stolen all the Slayer's powers, and he's stolen all the Slayer's memories, and they're trying to trap all the demons in the Hell Dimension. And Dawn, the sister, is trying to open a portal, and they're going to try to shove everybody in. Illyria, one of the demons / humans. She's sharing a body with one of the humans, Fred, who is from Angel.
Okay.
Like she turns into like full demon form and like shoves all the demons into the Hell Dimension because Buffy can't do it anymore because she's no longer Slayer. But that was the prophecy. The prophecy was that Buffy was going to shove everybody in hell. She was going to go into hell herself, and she fought the demons for eternity. That's why there was no more Slayers. So but obviously it turns around a little bit, and they flip the script, and Illyria helps them by putting a lot of the demons into the Hell Dimension.
Okay.
And so then the brother kills off one of the more powerful demons. Frey and Buffy fight her brother, and then they kill him. And then they end the story. The Slayer powers go back. They send Frey back to the future. The future ends up being changed.
Okay.
And she's like, I don't know. Her and her sister are like, we've never seen this future. What is this? And they kind of find out that the Slayers existed for a long time. They made a lot of good, and they became like a society.
Okay.
And they've changed the future, so for the better.
Okay. Hopefully.
Well, they show that it's like they make it more of a just like a utopia kind of thing where they show him like meeting the other Slayers, and that she has a family there, even though she really doesn't belong anymore. So, and then they have then they go on to what happens to the regular Buffy cast. Faith, which is the other Slayer that kind of came into a lot of the seasons. And Buffy start a police academy. Xander and Dawn are together, and they have a baby. Willow is starting a girl power community and trying to help build a better society. And so it kind of wraps everything up.
And it really wraps it up like the show does. Like how they always show like the
Yes.
season finale.
Yes, and it's like it wraps up everything, or they try to at the
as much
least.
as possible. Yeah.
So, did you ever watch Buffy?
Yes.
So
Not the whole way through, but I did watch quite a bit of it.
So if you never watch Buffy and Angel, sometimes the characters can be a little confusing because if you don't know all the characters from the show, then obviously they're all in here.
Right.
But for the most part, I didn't think it was that bad. Like it was okay.
Yep.
It was good. I liked
pretty
it.
cover.
It is. I love her weapon. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Right.
Like it. I actually.
You like those big axe or like the big.
Small confession: I have a replica of this in my closet.
Oh, winning.
Occasionally, I break it out. And
Why is it in your closet?
Well,
shouldn't it be like on the wall?
No, I want to hold it and touch it. So
it can't be displayed. It needs to be like you need to be able to pull it out.
Accessible in case I need to actually use it.
If
you never know.
Wall, you could just grab it. Take out burglars.
So much
something.
more dramatic.
Hold on, let me get my axe.
Let me get my Slayer weapon. I'm sure somebody broke in my house that they wait for me to get it.
Yeah, totally. Hold, please.
Hang on.
Okay, I'm ready.
I've got just the thing for you. Hang on.
I am so ready for you. I've been ready for you for like 15 years.
Yeah, 15 years. So, as a book, a standalone issue, obviously I don't think it's for new readers. But story-wise, I thought it was pretty good. The art is really good. I love the artist. Like I said, he's been on the series a couple times, and I really like how he makes each character look. Not only like the character, like the actor that used to play them in the show, but also gives them a look so that when they're like in a panel by themselves, you can tell a lot of times.
They are.
There's a couple times where it gets a little like, is that who? Especially that same kind of hair color or cut. But for the most part, I really enjoy his art, and it's not too. I mean, like it's not hyper realistic, but it is really. I think he's very talented.
Yes.
Like I really liked the books that he's done. I've read a couple of them.
It's a good style for the story. I think
it works well. And I would recommend it if you're definitely a show person. Like if you really like the show, this is definitely a continuation and interesting to see where the characters go. I do feel like they can stretch and do a lot more in the books than they can in obviously the show just because of budget.
Yeah.
So the stories get really outrageous.
When you can draw anything, whereas you can't act out everything,
Right, and they get they use that. So sometimes I feel like it doesn't quite fit the show because it does have a more grandiose feel. But this particular issue is definitely a really good kind of wrap up. However, I think that also hurt it is because they had to end it really quick, so they couldn't space it out to the point where they can wrap it up a little bit easier or a little bit more cohesively. But still, like, you don't feel like, oh, what happened to this? What happened to them? You definitely feel like it's an ending, and they do pretty well with the end of it. Obviously, I won't be able to get the next issue because this will be it.
Yeah, no more issues.
Cheers. But I'm really hoping the show.
So much ending for you this week.
I know, like it. I know.
This is why he doesn't read the news. He doesn't want to know. He'd rather just be sad and not have to prepare for it.
X-Men's ending, all these other. Yeah, it's very sad. That way I'm only sad for a little bit.
He's handling it well.
That way I don't have to mourn it.
He's not handling it.
So obviously I won't be picking up the next issue, but I would give it probably a 4 out of 5 unicorn horns, just because I'm a big fan of Buffy and I've really enjoyed the series so far. But otherwise, I mean, if you are not into the series, you may not enjoy it. This particular issue as well as I did. So if you're a newer reader, definitely start at the beginning.
Yeah.
But this particular issue I really enjoyed if you have been continuing on or at least reading with it.
So when you said 12 seasons, you mean like 12 series of this?
So they ended the TV show on season 7.
Okay.
So the next one was 8,
that was
9, 10, 11, 12.
So there is quite a bit to read.
Yeah.
And
they've had a couple stories, and they've had a couple stories that are pretty good. Some are kind of, like I said, a little bit strange, because I feel like they can do a more grandiose plan with this.
Yeah.
But
it'll come back. I have a feeling it'll probably come back.
Well, the TV show's going to go, so I don't know what they're going to do with the TV show. So they may end up with a different TV show, or just do the TV show and then maybe do comic books later on with a different company. But Dark Horse themselves has lost the rights, and so they've had to, which I feel like Dark Horse does a lot. Like a lot of times
that happens a lot. Yeah.
They get a lot of the rights and then they just lose them somewhere.
Star Wars was the same way.
I know, it was.
The Star Wars series was
they do so good with it. Yeah.
They did an awesome run.
The Old Republic was really good, and then
but then they lost the rights.
Yeah, and then it's just and I feel like I may be wrong, but Aliens I feel like they had for a while, but I don't know if they lost it yet or not. But I don't know. Poor Dark Horse.
I know.
But actually, usually
they do
have
so well when they
really do. They have really good artists. They have really good writers.
The stories are always really, really solid.
Yes.
Good, solid story. Because sometimes it happens in comics where you're like, that's okay.
Well, I feel like the bigger ones, like the DC and Marvel, they kind of put out a lot of stuff. And they promote the weekly or bi-weekly.
Right,
It's a lot of times the stories suffer or the art suffers, or goes back and forth. And I'd much rather them do the monthly comic book and put it together well.
Have it be solid.
But yeah, that's
you
what
enjoyed
it
it.
is. Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about Mr. Miracle, but I don't think you've read it yet, have you?
I have. I did.
Okay.
I downloaded it and everything.
Okay, Mr. Miracle. I love this series so much.
I know. It's really good.
This is so good. If you are not reading Mr. Miracle, you are missing out in life. So this is number 11 in a 12-issue series. Right. So we're right there.
Again, they're getting ready to end it.
Yes, I know. It's going so well, though. So this is written by Tom King and art by Mitch. I love Tom King. And I love Mitch Gerrits. And when they are together, it makes me very, very happy. It's like Tom King and Joelle Jones. I'm also very happy. But if you've been reading the series, you know why the veggie tray is important.
It's very important to have the veggie tray.
I love that he keeps calling back to this damn veggie tray.
I mean, he does that a lot, though. There's a lot of things that I feel like he does where he kind of sets little tidbits and then just keeps using them.
Which I love. I love that in comedy. I love that just in anything. I love callbacks. Callbacks make me happy. And Gerrits has done such an awesome job because since Tom King is writing Batman, there's all these little nods to Batman throughout this entire series, whether it's the shirt he's wearing, the toy that Jacob loves, the little Batman, So this story is, they've decided that Darkseid, in order to end the war between New Genesis and Apocalypse, that they are going to... Darkseid said that if they will give their son, he will trade. So he will end the war. They'll give all the prisoners back. But the trade is that they have to give Jacob...
Big Barda and Mr. Miracle's son.
Yes, Mr. Miracle and Big Barda have to give Jacob to Darkseid.
Right.
And so in the last issue, they decided that they were going to do this, but they're actually going to take Darkseid out.
Right,
so
they're going to try to kill him. They're like, nope, we're not doing this.
Yeah, so the beginning is them just getting ready, like getting the stroller
I
together,
know,
getting the.
like
do
make
you
sure
have
he gets the towels. Do you
diapers?
have where's the diaper bag? Do
Where's
you
his
have the veggie
Batman?
tray? Yes.
He's gonna be freaking
fussy.
out if he doesn't have his Batman.
Yeah.
You know, and so so they're getting everything ready. They've got the veggie tray to
Yeah.
take to Darkseid. I love that Mitch does the 9-panel thing. This is something that Tom does a lot, or his artists do for
So
him.
I will say my opinion after we get through this story.
Okay.
So we'll get through the story and then we'll come back.
So they show up at Apocalypse. They've got, they've got everything. Darkseid is eating the veggie tray. God, that makes me happy.
Not only that, but I just love like the writing. As far as like the writing on this is the little quipping just between like
Yes.
the two characters. Like they show up and there's this, there's one of her friends there and she's like, she does these little.
Big Barda, you're always so big.
Yeah, like it just is like these little tiny
Aw.
quips, like how are you? Doing good? Things
Yes.
still suck. Yeah, things still suck. It's just like it's just funny.
It's been one of the amazing things about this series is how he's taken these two characters, so Mr. Miracle and Big Barda, who are new gods, and they're on Earth though, they're living their life on Earth, but they're doing all of these things that we all go through, like when she was giving birth to Jacob, like all of the conversation going,
Well, it's
the
almost
dialogue.
like People magazine. They do that. They're just like us.
They're just like us.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what it feels like.
That is exactly what
Yeah.
this feels like.
Yeah.
That's a very
It's
good.
like they're just like us.
Yes.
So then Darkseid's eating the veggie tray
He's eating
while
the
they're
veggie
talking.
tray. And so, see, and again, it goes back to the quipping of like, you're lying, and he's like, fine, I'm lying. Yes, I'm lying. I'm just
Yeah.
going to escape him to death.
Yeah.
Like he's all, what's the word I'm looking for? Not incredulous, but like just frustrated with like, why are we even having this conversation right now? And it's awesome because like they're standing there with the stroller and then Jacob's just over here crawling on the ground.
So as I was reading it, I read it on the iPad, and when you
Mm-hmm.
can read it when you read it digitally, you can click the scene so that it zooms on just that panel.
Yeah.
Made it even funnier because it would just be like
'Cause it would just
it's just
hi.
like scenery. They're quipping, baby, dark side, scene, quipping,
Yes.
baby. And so you're just like it. I mean, it made it even more
It
funny.
was just sarcasm. Like
Yeah.
the only word bubble here is
Yeah.
sarcasm. You think? Like it's just so great. I feel like it's the way we banter, so it's like
I don't disagree.
I loved it even more because of that.
Yes,
and
it made
so-
it very awesome.
And so they're and this is like really some heavy stuff because they're having to turn, or at least pretend to. They don't know what's
Yeah.
gonna, this could go wrong. They're handing their baby over to Darkseid. And, it's got this really cute, these panels where, Jacob is playing with Darkseid's nose. And you're just like, what's even happening right now? This is so fantastic. And so it goes on to where they're like, okay, we'll do the trade. We're going to pull our troops out.
How do we know you're not going to get the
Yes.
anti-life equation?
And so Darkseid, because the anti-life equation is knowledge, you can't, once you know something, you know something. So he rips out one of his eyes because now he can no longer use the Omega beams.
Which is one of the big things that are like,
It's
destroy
part of
a part of the anti-life equation.
And so Barda like squishes it and it's fantastic. And then there's this really awesome piece where they're like, okay, well, can we please just say goodbye to our son? And Scott has just this amazing
the
conversation.
dialogue is really well.
with Jacob and it's so good, the
Yes.
dialogue side of it. And then they're like, he's like, okay honey, I got him. And so Barda has this, it's like the miracle machine, I guess is where they got the
They've absorbed the energy from all the like escapes and all the stuff that he's done, all the miracles he's performed and stuff, and then they turned it into this weapon. Which I love that they put it in the stroller.
in the stroller. Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't have a weapon, which
Yeah.
makes you call back to in the beginning, like, no, we don't
What?
have any weapons on
You
us.
brought a
Like, I have a
stroller.
stroller.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh. And so she uses it against Darkseid, but it doesn't work on
No,
Darkseid.
and like I was really sad. Like I
'Cause
knew
he
she had to take a
beats the
beating.
crap out
Yeah.
of Barda.
Yeah. I mean, Barda tries, but she's obviously
does not-
It's not
it
the
does
same
not work
thing.
out.
Not the same power class.
And so they're like, you violated the agreement. Now we're basically everything that we said we were going to do. We're not going to do that
We're
now.
gonna double our efforts to destroy everything.
Yes.
And, yeah.
And there's this really awesome part where like Mr. Miracle basically is saying F you.
Yeah.
And
And then he takes a beating.
He takes a beating really bad, and it's just
Which,
crazy.
but it gets like really sad though. Like
Yes.
I got a little like
I was upset.
I was just like I mean I was hoping they would get out of it, but obviously you never know.
Because there's
especially
this
since the series
whole
is ending.
there's this whole 9-panel section where like Scott's just getting the ish beat out of him while Jacob's sitting on the ground next to him crying. I mean, it's like freaking 9 panels,
sad.
you know.
It's sad.
It's very very heavy. Like, hey, Justice League Avengers, take some notes about how like when something should feel heavy, like you should be reading it going, oh no, you know, that's how that should
Hoping
feel.
that they're not going to die.
Yes. And so, you know, Bart is like, Scott, do it, stand up. And so they had hidden a knife inside of the veggie tray, once again, calling back to that amazing veggie tray. And it's a knife that...
In a previous issue,
Yes.
Bernadette had given Scott the knife to cut the umbilical cord for Jacob to live.
Yes, because you can't,
Right.
I guess being a new god, it doesn't... Regular blades don't work on
Right,
you.
so human blades wouldn't when they...
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he jumps up to kill Darkseid and says, F you, F you, F you, multiple times. It's pretty fantastic.
And stabs him in the eye.
Stabs him in the eye. Darkseid falls. And then you have him playing with the veggie tray. I just love it so much.
It really is such a good book.
And what I loved is that they seemingly kill Darkseid. They, you know, thrust the knife into the place where his eyeball basically was.
Yeah, where he ripped his eye out, or you ripped
his
the mega
eye
equation,
socket.
or the
And they pick up Jacob, and she's like, what's with all the bleep you in front of Jake? I know. What happened to escape this?
Yeah.
Like, I thought we were going to say escape this. And he's like, I'm sorry, next time.
Yeah.
And she's
like
like,
they had the
next
whole
time.
speech planned out.
And then
The
they
death
continue to
speech.
say, like, then they start cussing at each other because
Yeah.
they're like, okay, you know, it's very, very funny. But, so you think that's it. But then
Desaad sits on the
Yes.
thing and becomes...
Metron.
Yeah.
Which I don't know that much about Metron, other than he can kind of...
It's kind of like the knowledge
time
god.
and space.
Yeah.
Like he can
He has
mold
the
time and
Morbius chair,
space.
and yes.
And so, which makes me wonder this whole series. So we've kind of been like, okay, is Scott Free dead? Is he in a coma? Like, there's been all of this, like, what would you call that stuff that's happening?
Everybody's like assuming things. Everybody's got their own little theory.
Yes, of what is happening here. Because in the very beginning of the series, spoilers, Scott basically tries to commit suicide and see if he can escape death. And
Or
so
that's what he says.
Yes, that's what he's saying
Why
he's
like, I
doing.
was just trying to escape death, but I think he had a lot of emotional issues.
Yes.
Obviously from all the stuff that's going on with the new gods and stuff like that.
And so with Metron, he's basically saying, you know, where you are is not where you should be, Scott Free. And then you turn the page and it's like the DC universe, basically, like all of these characters. But you see how it still has all of the
Lines.
Yeah, the lines in it where it's like fuzzing in and out a
it's
little
like
bit.
a static TV.
And I love how he drew the eyes, like them being beat up.
Yeah.
Mitch has such a good, you know, and so they're just basically ending it going,
And back to the veggie tray.
Yeah,
where
back
he's
to the
eating
veggie tray. I also love that Jake says, fuck. I thought that was great. Because, yeah, basically, he's going to say it. And, but it kind of leaves, you know that that's Metron, but
I don't know.
I don't know how this is going to end.
I don't
I have
either.
no idea.
I really wanted to end on a good note, though, because I feel like this, honestly, like, if they would have left it like this, I would have been fine, because I feel like
It could have
issue was
ended
like,
here. Yes.
Without
Without
the
Metron.
end, yeah.
Without, it would have been fine.
I would have been
But at
really
the same
happy
time,
about
you're
this.
like, Darkseid went down real easy, so it makes sense that there would be somebody.
I don't know about really easy.
Well-
He did beat him half to death.
But, you know, I mean, he's Darkseid, though. Darkseid is.
I'm not.
Alan?
I don't disagree, but I'm just saying it's like
Darkseid is.
being easy.
Okay, easy for a new god.
Okay,
Is that better?
Okay.
But to me, this book is a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
I would recommend that any comic reader read this book. This is like book of the year type stuff.
Now, obviously, you can't start with this issue.
No, you have
So
to
if
go
you're
back.
a new reader to the series, you have to start at the
Yes,
beginning.
you have to go back to 1. But I mean, this
But
is
it's
issue 11.
So good.
It's a quick read.
It really is. So let's get to the art real quick.
Yes.
So art-wise, it is. So I was really put off when I first started reading it. The art is kind of. They do these, like we said, the little static things.
Yes.
And that really turned me off for a while.
Yeah.
But then you
I was
keep
so
going,
intrigued
keep
by
going.
them.
And so I just kept going, and like eventually you kind of get used to it.
You do.
But it is
you
really,
do get used to it.
For me, it was really irritating at the first part.
And he
But
has a
I
very
really-
different style of art. that is off-putting. My first,
It's almost like sketchy, realistic.
yes,
art.
that's a good way, because honestly, I was like, I'm not even sure how to explain the type of art that he does.
Yeah.
Sheriffs of Babylon was my first Mitch Gerard's experience.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I take that back. It was an issue of Batman, and that I didn't care for at the time, but is now one of my favorite issues of the entire run. So, funny story there. But his art is fantastic. It fits the story so well, and I love how
And
it's
he does
evolved.
really, yeah.
Too, like if you go back to the first issue of Mr. Miracle,
It's less
it's gotten
less sketchy.
cleaner.
Mhm.
It's gotten so much
Yeah.
cleaner as he's gone along, and I feel like he's done that on purpose.
This particular past couple issues reminds me a lot of Phil Jimenez.
Yes.
Like, I mean, even like with the way Big Barda looks, and who is it that they come in like this panel right here, and like this, the faces and their expression reminds me a lot of Phil Jimenez and the realism, but they kind of have that still like kind of sketchy, almost unfinished side to it.
Yes.
But it's still
But at the same time, like
he's so
Darkseid
stunning.
here, like
Yeah.
is so there's so much detail.
Lots of talent.
It's beautiful.
It really
He's one of my top favorite artists. I love, and like I said earlier, Tom King and Mitch Gerard's together are magic.
Their combination is really well.
They're magic. So
I'm not as big of a Tom King fan as you are, but I mean, like, honestly, like this would make me a huge fan of him anyways, just because, like you said, the writing is really good, the art is phenomenal, and the combination of them two are just like it's just a kismet that you don't find a lot in a book currently. A lot of times,
right.
I feel sometimes that the artists aren't always important to the story.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times they'll do different artists. Like I feel like, you know, when we did their Avengers reviews and stuff, the Avengers start off with this big name artist and then they kind of flip-flop back and forth, and it's very confusing. As where this guy he stayed with the series the whole time, and I feel like it's actually made it a better story.
It helped tell the story, honestly.
Right.
I mean, that's something that I love about the two of them together is like Tom, because he is a very quippy writer, knows when to let his artist tell the story, and it mirrors so
they
well
definitely
together.
elevated each other to so
and they're good friends, and you can show like you know Tom is his son's godfather.
The other thing I like about this is you don't really have to know the characters.
Yeah, because I knew nothing about Mr. Miracle coming into this series. I picked it up because Tom King was writing it, and I was loving his Batman run. So I'm like, well, if I love this so much, why not check this out?
But if you do, like I've been a huge New God fan for a long time, and I've always loved Barda. Big Barda is probably one of my DC
Barda.
favorites.
She's my top 5. She's in the top 5.
I would put her up there. Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
I love
but
Barda.
I also love Mr. Miracle. They're pretty awesome. Together, they've always been a really neat team. I don't feel like they get used a lot in books.
No, they don't.
But
I've been looking.
Yeah.
So
when they do, they did a series, the Identity Crisis, and they were in there for a little bit, and they were really kind of interesting to see that kind of them in that aspect. Is very much like this, where it's like this realistic about them just kind of living life on Earth and their condo and stuff.
Yes.
So I really like that you put the series together, because I've really enjoyed a lot of that.
I mean, one of my favorite parts in this series has been like when they're in the car and they're listening to like the death cries,
screams, yeah.
and they're like, "Oh,
do we
it's
have a
so
song?
romantic."
Yeah.
You know,
we don't have a song. We don't have a song. Like what we have the death throws, like Mother Box play the death throw. It's like,
and they're like laughing while they're hearing people like it's basically being tortured in hell.
Yeah,
it was so funny.
So like I would definitely recommend. I would recommend this book to almost anybody, even if you're not a huge superhero fan, because I do feel like it is very realistic.
Yeah.
But it is a kind of a fantasy-ish.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's
he
still
mirrors
just
real life so well that it's just funny.
It's a really good book, but you definitely have to start at the beginning to get most of it.
Go back to issue 1.
If you're a fan of them, you know, if you're a fan of the characters, this will definitely be a really great book.
Yes.
And they do them justice very well. I'm very sad to see it end, and I'm worried.
I know.
I'm concerned.
I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to end well.
So how many? So what did you rate this?
5. Like I give this a 5 out of 5.
I would agree with that. 5 out of 5 unicorn horns.
This whole series has been like touching. You've really fallen in love with these characters as each issue has elevated that relationship. And I'm sad to see it end, just because I feel like I'll be losing friends. Like I won't get to like see my friends anymore.
I don't disagree with this.
Yeah,
So.
like I'm gonna be sad, but hopefully they'll, with that page with all of the DC universe in there, I'm hoping that means that we're gonna see more of them
In a different book.
in a different way. So
Mhm.
that's my hope.
I hope. I can always hope. Like I said, I love Barda and
Because
Scott.
I love them so
yeah.
much. I am very attached to these characters.
So I'm gonna do West Coast Avengers #2. They just started this series, obviously, because it's the second issue. The writer is Kelly Thompson, and the artist is Stefano Castielli.
This has been a fun book.
Yes. Did you read it?
I haven't read this issue yet, but issue 1 was very cute.
So the reason why they canceled the Hawkeye, the female,
Yes.
Kate. They canceled her book, which if you haven't read that, that's actually a really good series. I really enjoyed it.
I read like the intro issue that came out like on a free comic book day or something.
It's really cute. It reminds me a lot of like the quippiness. Like there's like that kind of humor in it, but it has like a little bit of weight behind it with their family and stuff. So they ended that, and I think that they ended that just to start this. So it's the West Coast Avengers. It's #2. And it's kind of her picking up where she left off in the end of the other series, but kind of getting joined by other people.
Okay.
The other Hawkeye, Clint, she's got her own little team together, and they're at the beginning of this one. They're fighting Tigra, who is made giant and is kind of feral.
Very.
I know. So like. In the last issue, Brodok showed up.
And I don't know who that is. I have no idea who that is.
MODOK was like the murder. Anyways, like he's this big bad guy, but he has this big giant head. And he's like in this motorized like wheelchair with these little tiny legs, but he's like, he's nothing but a big giant face. So apparently he's made this body. And to be kind of like infiltrate, like
and he's like super hot.
He thinks and he's still got a big head though. So
I was like, I didn't know if that was just drawn that way. No. So that's good to know because I was like, this is like a bobblehead.
Yeah, and that's exactly what makes it. And I love that they even address that. Like in one part of the story, they address the fact that like he has a big head, and he's like, they're like, we know it's MODOK. You know it's MODOK? Yeah, I know it's MODOK. You know it's and then the new guy, the rookie's like, I don't know who MODOK is, but I just looked him up, and I'm pretty sure it is him. So
I just Googled him.
And so it's really he kind of goes and he helps stop Tigra, and then they go back to their headquarters, which is like Kate's building that she built her private detective place and or her private eye place, and it's just like this like rundown kitchen and an office. It's like nothing.
Like reminds you of the Alias, like Jessica Jones thing.
Yeah, it's just kind of like this like rundown shack that they all stay in, and they kind of quit back and forth. They kind of give Brodok his little like intro, and I like it because it's funny because it's him. And then they put in little bubbles, and they're like, "No, that's not true." It's like his story. Like, he's saying, like, he's like, "I was born and fought this way," and it's like, "No, that's not true." So it's kind of it's just cute and funny. And then they break up into teams. So they leave everybody to watch Brodok while the two Hawkeyes go to get more information. And
I love how they kind of play off the whole "I'm Hawkeye, I'm also Hawkeye."
Yeah, Hawkeye too. It's like I'm the girl Hawkeye. I'm not the girl Hawkeye.
I'm just Hawkeye.
I'm just Hawkeye. And so it's like they infiltrate, the two Hawkeyes infiltrate AIM, which he calls it something else. He calls it like, it's not AIM, like the Advanced Idea Mechanics. He calls it like Advanced Image Mechanics or something like that.
So like Dark Magic?
Yeah. Well, it's like he's trying to hide it. And like everybody knows it's AIM. It's like, no, we know. Yeah. You're like, okay, Advanced Image, got it. So they it's pretty funny. So it's just a really cute little book, and some stuff happens between what is his name, Quentin and Gwenpool.
I like that. Everyone's like, what?
Yeah, it's pretty
because
funny.
they've been fighting, right? Like the first issue, they were like basically at each other's throats.
And they're still fighting this one, and then they like make out. And America is mad because she's like she got left behind, and she's like, I don't want her to stay here. And then Kate's like, you have to stay here. And she's like, I don't want to stay here. I hate you. And it gets even funnier because like by the time when they kiss, like she's really pissed about it, and so she's like, by the time Kate shows back up, yeah, exactly. That's kind of what it is.
They're kissing.
Yeah. So they Brodok finds out that they've kind of like been looking into AIM, and so he knows that they're onto him. So he activates these other giant characters which they're all in shadow, so you don't know who it is. So the last page is Tigra, the giant tiger, coming back out of the water, and behind her is 4 other shadowy giant characters. So I don't know who they're gonna be. So he's gonna like destroy Los Angeles.
Great.
So I actually really like this series.
I think it's just fun. It's one of those that you're like not necessarily expecting a whole lot out of.
And the dialogue's really good.
Yeah.
The writing is really I like the writing. I don't feel like it's forced. It's very funny. There's not a lot of stuff that's like you just like that's not funny.
Yeah.
It's really cute. Like and I don't feel like it's too made up. Like sometimes I feel like dialogue can be forced where it's like nobody talks like that.
We're trying to be funny.
Yeah, nobody talks like that.
Yeah.
But this is kind of, I feel like I would have this conversation with some of my friends.
Yes.
You know? Like I would probably have one of these conversations with you.
I know.
So
the first issue made me think that several times.
I don't know who he is either. I just looked him up, but I'm pretty sure it's him too. Like, it's like,
I'm pretty sure we have had that conversation.
Yeah. Possibly. We could go back probably and check it out. So I really enjoyed it, though. I think it's I would definitely recommend it if you're a new reader. I think this series, maybe not this issue, obviously, because they do set things up, but the series itself was, it's easy to jump onto, and it's light. It's still, and it's fun. If you're looking for a more mature or serious book, it probably wouldn't be your bag.
Yeah.
But they do have,
Jeremiah's 14, and he typically is not a team reader. He always says, like, Mom, I don't like team books.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, I want you to check this out. I want your opinion on it. So he read the first issue, and he's like, I kind of want the second issue, Mom.
Yeah.
And
it's really cute.
I gave him this one, and he was like, this is really good.
Yeah.
This is really funny.
Nothing too but they still have adventures, and the humor in there is really good. So, and the art, I really like the art. I think they do a great justice to the characters. They don't look too weird or anything like that.
I think they're drawn really, really well.
Yeah, they do really well.
And I think just going back to what you're saying about it being forced, like they're not trying to make this book something it's not.
Right.
It's light. It's funny.
Yeah.
Just fun stories.
Yeah.
It's...
And that's, I feel like the West Coast Avengers have definitely become a little bit more of a joke. And so this, I do feel like this elevates them a little bit less like a joke, but still kind of...
Like playing off of the idea that that's who they were, though.
Yes.
It's like nodding the fact that that's what they became, but let's try and revamp it.
So I really liked it. I'm definitely going to pick up the next issue. I'll probably give this one a while I'll probably pick up a couple issues just because I do like the characters. Which I didn't at first. Like I wasn't a big, huge Hawkeye fan, Kate or Clint.
Yeah.
But I picked up Kate's last Hawkeye series and I really enjoyed it, and so that made me get this one too. But I love Tigra. I love Quentin. He's always been kind of a hole, and
he's definitely kind of an a-hole.
And so I enjoy the characters too. So.
Well, I feel like Hawkeye's better on a team.
Yes. I don't disagree. And I like that she has a lot of people to play off, and they kind of have a rookie in there. And so I definitely, if you get a chance, I would definitely recommend this. And I'm definitely going to pick up the next issue. I'd probably give this a 4 out of 5 unicorn horns, just because it's, 5 is kind of...
I know. It's up
hard,
there.
but it's definitely close.
Yeah.
Especially if you're kind of a lighter fan, you may like it. You may give it a 5, but I definitely enjoyed it. So if you get a chance, you may want to pick that one up.
This is hard for me because I feel like this was the week of Tom King for me. So I kind of don't want to talk about it because like Batman came out this week too. Okay, we can still talk about. Well, I feel like we need to talk about Avengers and Justice League.
You can pick whatever you want.
Okay, I think we'll still talk about it.
I don't know if I can do Justice League. I may have to take a break from them. We have been practicing and we did Justice League last week, and I just can't do it. I need a break. We'll catch them on the pull list.
Yeah, okay. So Batman number 55 came out this week. Tom King writing. Tony S. Daniels did the art. He's amazing.
He's done Batman a couple for a while.
Yes, he's done it for a while, and it is... Man, his art is beautiful. And again, Tom King with this whole 9-panel... You didn't mention... You were going to say something about Mr. Miracle with the 9-panel thing.
Oh, I just feel like it really works with them.
It works with it, right?
They do really well. It really...
His writing style, I think, works with the 9-panel really well.
Well, and it's kind of hard because... Well, the one in particular, in Mr. Miracle, where it's just... it's 9 panels, but 3 of it's kind of like side
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
It still works really well. Like he fills the space really well, even though there's nothing said.
Right.
And
I
so
don't know.
just
I'm liking
it helps with the flow almost. It gives,
Mhm.
and if you read it digitally, it's a little bit different because it does kind of, you're like, you sit there and you hit forward and you're like, it's just scenery. And then you hit the next one, you're
It's
like,
just that little square.
okay, this is why, because it's just, you know.
Yeah.
So it depends on how you read it. But I feel like it translates well. So I actually like the way that he does that.
I could see where that would be hard to read in the guided view, though. That would be, you'd
Just
almost
like,
have to look at the first page and then guide
Yes.
you. But so it starts out where you've got KG Beast is coming into Gotham, and so they're just and I didn't know it was KG Beast.
I don't know who that is.
Yep, same. I didn't know even
Okay,
after
good.
I finished the book. I didn't know who he was. I actually saw something. I was like, oh, cool, that's who that is. So,
No idea.
Russian guy showing up in Gotham is what you're seeing. And it's still kind of feeding off of the last issue of Batman was kind of this father-son, Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne story. And it was just a very heartfelt kind of their relationship, how it had evolved over time. And so they're still doing a little bit of that where Dick is trying to like kind of lighten Bruce up a little bit because, you know, he's kind of always been that holy pants Batman, you know, kind of doing that a little bit still. And Batman's just like, no. Like, just stop. Like, he literally says, just stop at one point. But I'm telling you what, I know we're talking story right now, but this art.
Yes.
Jeez.
He is very talented. I've seen
Jeez.
some other books that he's done, and I've really enjoyed him.
And so it goes back to, like, this Russian character, because, they don't really outlay. I mean, I guess maybe if you knew who KG Beast was, this would be obvious to you. It wasn't to me. It was just a Russian guy showing up in Gotham, and he's just kind of, like, settling into his hotel, and it's just going back and forth between scenes with him and scenes with Nightwing and Batman, and again where it's going back and forth between that 9 panel and then these beautiful like splash pages, and it's doing the whole like he's making all these puns off of these stupid villains that they have, like Mummy Mia, Mummy Dearest, and Batman's like no, and they're fighting mummy characters, who even knows. Switches back to the Russian character going and wanting to buy these guns, so he's picking up guns from Tommy Guns. And again, back to a splash page with this mummy character. And it's just, so it's this back and forth where Dick's just not getting anywhere with Batman, but he's just like, nope.
He's trying really hard.
I'm not having any of it. Would you please just stop? And then going back to kind of what we were talking about with Tom King with the whole quipping, there's this 9 panel section where he's in a diner eating, and it's just all of these, you're basically hearing like 5 or 6 people's conversations.
Yeah, there are people in the restaurant.
Yeah, it's just these little word bubbles of like all these conversations, but it was interesting. It was well done. And then we go back to splash page of Batman and Nightwing, and he's still just trying to come on, Bruce, crack a smile, throw the kid a bone. I mean, it's just not going well. And you see that the Russian guy is going to this apartment, and he's basically breaking in. He's telling the person that I'm trying to get to my mom, and she's not here. So you know that he's just trying to, you don't know what he's doing, but this is not good. Whatever he's doing is not good. And he basically goes up to that apartment and strangles someone to death. You have literally 9 panels of someone being strangled. And then Batman, so Dick here is trying to get Batman to do a falling contest. Let's see who will, who's the last one. It's basically playing chicken. Yeah. Let's see who the last one is to pull their batarang or whatever it is, And then he's like, no, okay, I'm going to win. Oh, never mind. I'm coming. Because then they see the bat signal and Batman's like, see ya. Like, I'm not doing this. So you see the Russian guy up on this roof, and he is putting together his rifle. Then you pan back out to Batman and Nightwing meeting Commissioner Gordon on the roof. And just some dialogue there where they're like, hey, it's the anniversary of the War of Jokes and Riddles, which was a story arc that Tom King wrote in previous issues of Rebirth. So he's calling back to that, and that there was a napkin that said "Who's Afraid of the Joker?" and the question mark at the end was oversized, which was what the nod was to the War of Jokes and Riddles. And they're like, do we know who left this napkin? It was basically turned into the police, and they're wanting to know, do you know who wrote this? They don't know. Dick goes back, oh, it's Napkin Man. I know it's Napkin Man. And then you turn the page. And this Russian guy has shot Dick in the head.
Oh, no. Is he supposed to be dying?
I don't know.
Does Nightwing still have his book?
Yes.
Oh, God.
So this was a very quick story to read, and it was very just back and forth between KG Beast and like Dick and Bruce. And this is heavy because, again, this is something that Tom does with, you had that last issue, which was just basically this father-son, like, really set up their relationship and how important they were to each other and how they've helped each other. And then this happens, and it's like on the tail of the wedding not happening. And, you know, like
one more thing on his plate.
Yes, like Bruce is already a little fragile right now. And so, I mean, literally, that's
how it ends.
Well, you have like one more page where he's putting up his... the KG Beast is putting up the rifle that he had purchased, and Gordon's, get somebody up here now, like, and that's how it ends.
That's scary.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, this was some heavy-ish. This was intense, and the way that the story went back and forth was, I mean, it was literally KG Beast.
Yeah.
Splash page.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that was the pacing of the story, and it was very quick. And so it's Beast of Burden Part 1. So if you were new to Batman, you could technically pick up on this arc, just because it is a Part 1 of a story arc. There's a lot that has happened, but honestly, I feel like a new reader could jump in on Batman. Like, you would be able to pick up things as you went along. If you wanted, what I did is, when I started Batman, I started on a new arc.
Yeah.
I did go back and read it all, but I can honestly say that it wouldn't have been necessary per se. You would pick stuff up. I highly recommend this series. It's been really, really good. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. I think anybody could read it. I don't feel like there's an age, but the art in this story, Tony Daniels' art is just so beautiful. Would you say it's realistic? I mean,
yeah, I would definitely say it's a realism.
Yeah, it's very,
as much as they possibly
like
can.
David Finch, Jim Lee-ish in a way, like the style. But it's very, he does a lot of splash page work, which worked really well with the 9-panel for the other character.
Well, and like his detail, it's very detailed.
Yes.
And
I mean, the rain, really... to be able to draw the rain, you know, and it actually, I mean, feels
and
wet.
And the colors, I actually have to give a shout out to the colors. The colors are really amazing. They really pop. Like Nightwing's like blue on his suit. And
it was very...
the little yellow on his belt. It's just very like bam, bam.
And the way he drew Nightwing too, with him being a trapeze artist, like you really felt the athleticism of his character in comparison to Batman's. The colorist was... actually doesn't say right there. Oh, no, there it is. Tomo Mori? I don't know. Beautiful, though.
Yeah, and they're
very, very well done. And it was a very muted, like, pink with everything with the KG
I feel like
Beast.
almost all of it's very muted, and then, like, they have these little pops of colors that kind of, like, bring out and detail all the stuff.
I would, as far as, will I be picking up the next issue? Yes, I will be. Yes, I sure will. Unicorn Horn rating, honestly, I'd give it a solid 4 because... the story, I mean, he really is building up this story, and the way that happened at the end, you were expecting somebody to get shot because obviously he's putting the rifle together, but not like that.
Yeah.
Like, that is not...
Did you ever watch NCIS?
Yes.
Did you watch the first season?
Yes.
Or like second season when they
I know what you're talking about, yes.
Oh my god, that was dumb. I was really hoping for like Tony or the end, and they just like Kate was done.
And it was Kate. So it felt like that a little bit where it's like, it should have...
Yeah.
It's not that it wasn't obvious, but then at the same time you're like, but that's Dick.
Yeah.
Like,
tell what you do now.
What are you doing? You know, and so...
Stop it.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what's going to happen, and I don't like that. I want one every week.
I know, like... Oh, don't even start on the weekly ones.
No, I honestly don't want it to be weekly, but this is very, very well done. I highly recommend Batman.
It almost makes me want. I don't read Batman, not because I hate it, just because it's just one. It's not on my radar a lot of times. So, but that actually, after looking through that, it kind of makes me want to read it. Though that story looked really good.
If you, and I know that Tom King's writing isn't for everyone, but it has hooked me. It was one of the first things that I found that I was like.
Well, I feel like that's a majority of consensus. I don't feel like a lot of people are like, "Oh, Tom King's horrible," but I feel like
I found like it's a little bit of a people either hate him or love him. I don't know.
I feel like the majority of people I talk to that talk about Tom King are usually
yes. I'm always surprised by the people that don't like him because I'm like, well, I don't really like your opinions anyway. Stop talking. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
But that's what's fun though about writing is because like for me, Snyder, I'm sorry, I don't get it.
No.
But King, I get it, and I come back for more happily, you know. But I 4.5. I would
Awesome.
definitely. I recommend that series.
Awesome. All right. Last but not least. All right. I'm gonna do. Apparently, it's the reviews of penises.
PS Week.
So this is a Savage Dragon number 238. So the creator is Eric Larson. He does the story and the art. He has been he started the series and he has been with it. It's his book.
Okay.
So he's done all the issues. I think there might be one or two that maybe there's pages where he didn't do or a story he didn't do.
Okay.
But he's done all 238 all 238 books.
And this is the monthly?
Yes.
That is a long time to be on a series.
So the way Eric Larson writes Savage Dragon is he does it like when you pick up the book, it's supposed to be a month past the last book.
Okay.
So he tries to do it kind of in real time ish.
Like an episode of 24.
Yeah. Which I'm going to call back to here in a little bit.
Okay.
I say that for a reason.
Okay.
So in this particular issue, which be warned, there's things. It talks about his.
There's things.
It talks about his wife. So this is not the original dragon. This is his son from an alternate world, and so they have
alternate world.
Right. The original Savage Dragon. He lost his powers, and he was shipped off, and all this other stuff happened to him. And so I think he's currently dead, if I remember correctly. I have to go back and read it because he does tend to get off a little off schedule, so I get a little confused occasionally. But so this new character is Malcolm.
Okay.
And so his wife is they have a reality show, and they're in the hospital, and they start off with his sister, who is actually his stepsister. Savage Dragon married this lady and had a daughter.
Okay.
And she got killed, the mother,
okay.
Jennifer. And so her daughter has superpowers too. She's super strong. And last issue, she got her face and arm blown off by a bad guy, which is never very good. So she's in the hospital. So Malcolm has his legs blown off.
Goodness.
Yeah.
This is intense.
It's really intense. Anyway, let me finish. There's some things I gotta go over first. So it's about her and Malcolm's wife got hurt, and she ended up he saved her. His blood can heal people, or his blood can heal himself. He can regenerate.
Okay.
So he can heal people, but if they're not human or not part of their species, they explode. But they have this drug that they've used in the past to depower people. So what they did to save his wife was they turned her into a dragon, a savage dragon. Before she got to explode, they depowered her, so now she's human again. So they did the same thing with Angel. They heal her with the dragon powers, or the dragon blood, and then they depower her back to a human. But
Ta-da!
They saved her some of her blood, so they put her blood back in her so she could have her superpowers back. So she's still super strong, and so she's back to normal.
It's like have your cake and eat it too moment.
I know. We'll get to that.
Okay.
So also Dragon and his wife have babies. They have 4 babies.
Savage dragons.
I know, they're little tiny babies. So like they're his babies, and so he goes home to take care of them, and his wife goes off to a bachelorette party. Angel is trying to stay under the radar so that dragon's blood doesn't get discovered as like a miracle cure, because she knows other people want it.
We would do that. We would do that.
It does happen. It gets leaked that just savage dragons can heal people, so everybody's like, why does he get to keep it? Why is it only for his friends? So his wife goes out for
quite the outfit.
I know, it actually is really cute. So his wife goes out for the bachelorette party and leaves Savage Dragon leaves Malcolm with the babies. And Angel calls him saying, hey, they found out about your blood. Everybody's mobbing our house. And then like the reality show producer calls them and says, hey, they're mobbing the studio. And he's like, oh, great. So in comes the sex dolls. The sex dolls are from a previous issue, and they are trying to get dragon's blood. And they I know, right? So they realize that they can get the dragon's blood not only from him but from the babies too. So they are kind of
that's just
I know. So they're all kind of fighting. Smasher shows up. So they go to so his wife goes to the strip bar with all her friends, and they end up, she's had some nymphophone, she's become a nymphomaniac, so she's always wanting sex, and so she goes to the strip bar, and then, like, next thing you know, she's, like, on stage, like, touching herself, and it gets really awkward. But then they flash back to the fight where Savage Dragon is trying to save his kids. Then they flash back to the strip club where she's basically getting, having sex with the strippers. And it gets, like, really graphic, obviously. Like I said, there's, like, awkward penis moments. I know. Hold on tight, hang on.
Hold, please.
Hold on, honey. We're not quite done yet. So, then it flashes back. They flash back to Savage Dragon, and it's Angel comes in and helps them. Then they flash back to the strip club where his wife is like, you guys used me. You just wanted to, make a scene out of me. Like, you knew this was what was going to happen. So she gets mad, and she's like, you basically, she's like upset because they violated her. So she leaves. She comes back home, and she tries to tell Malcolm, and Malcolm's like, we saved the babies. We got attacked. Gives them basically catches them up. And then at the end, his wife goes to therapy. So, story-wise...
This is the weirdest book
ever. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. So,
I don't understand.
Like I said, I've got 238 issues of back history on this. I have been trying to hold on to this book so tight because the old issues were actually really, really good. They had interesting, fun characters. He really has a way of kind of making these interesting people and, like, villains. And it's interesting to watch, like, a real-time book. Unfortunately, I feel like around issue 99, 100, that's when things started going weird.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. And look how long I've held on to this sucker. But, like, it was still kind of fun. It was an interesting book. And, like, these past couple...
different.
Yeah. And then, like, these past couple issues, they have really gotten into these awkward, like, pornographic...
Yeah.
And it's not even for story's sake. Like, I don't know. Like,
I feel like that's the difference between, like, what we talked about earlier with Batman Damned, where, like, the penis didn't matter. Like, this was just...
Right.
Here it is.
I feel like this story...
Why do we have it here?
I have no idea. Like, I get it, the character's an nymphomaniac, and I understand what he was kind of doing with it, but there's...
What purpose does that even serve the overall story?
I don't understand. Like, it makes... Not that I'm a prude. I mean, I don't
no, but it just doesn't...
Whatever. But it just doesn't, like, it turns me off the book. I feel like that could have been panels that could have been used to further on some kind of other story that was a little more important. So, honestly, like, I feel like it was detrimental to the book. Art-wise, I've always loved Erik Larsen's art. It is very different. It's very, a lot of it's very rudimentary.
And cartoony.
Mm-hmm. And he does different styles. Like, sometimes he'll be like, I just felt like trying this style. And it's just like, he'll do something different.
Within the same book. Like, I noticed that just in this book.
Yeah, and he's, when it gets, and definitely throughout the series, he's done that several times where he's like, I was just trying new things, or I wanted to try new panel layout. And it's interesting to see that, like, him play.
It's like his thought experiment almost is what this book is.
And, the hard part, though, is when like I talked about, like, it being in real time, I think that has a detriment on this book a lot of times because I feel like he tries to get a lot of things in one issue. And it's like, you're trying to get a month full of stuff. And there's a lot of exposition that maybe gets a little hard to go through. Gets, very wall of words. And, like, he has to come up with a lot of convenient things, like the depowering. Whereas, as I would have rather, if, like, she got her face blown off, like, I would rather have been in the hospital, and then, like, she goes in a coma, and then, like, maybe, like, 2 or 3 issues down the road, we
figured this out.
Well, yeah, he could have, like, helped her. He's like, okay, this is our last resort.
How come if he's able to heal things, he can't heal himself?
He is.
Oh, okay.
But I obviously take some time. Like, it's not instantaneous.
It's not an instantaneous thing. Okay.
So, this is like last issue, last issue is what happened, so it kind of picks up where that picks up.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, I feel like sometimes the real time kind of does give him a detriment to his writing. Unfortunately, like, he does a lot of times where he does these characters where he just, like, he'll make them and then he'll kill them off.
Yeah.
Which is okay, but you really...
seems like a shock value thing a little bit. Like
I do
a
feel
lot of
like
things I've heard you
sometimes-
say about
yeah.
this book before was even like it doesn't really serve a purpose to the story outside of
Right.
just shock value.
And it really makes me sad because the original series, like I said, about up to issue 100 when they kind of switched worlds, it was really good, and I really liked the characters, and I really enjoyed them. But unfortunately, I'm not for sure what's going on with him lately. I just feel like this is his, I don't know, his way to get things out out of his head, and it's not really doesn't work really well for me personally.
It's what diaries are for.
Yeah, and I feel like I wish he would get back to his more superhero stuff, the
Yeah.
villains and things like that, with his little side characters and stuff. But so unfortunately, art-wise, I really liked it though. But I've always liked his art. So but it is definitely a different world. Like you either love his art or you hate it. But I will probably pick up the next
There's
issue.
no probably 238.
I
238.
But I really don't want to.
You don't want to.
Like I just don't.
Is it one of those that you could just collect and
Yeah,
not read?
no, I'll still read it. But I mean, like, I'm sadly losing interest in, like, I really don't care.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because, like I said, I mean, like,
You want to care.
Yeah, I want to care so bad because I really enjoyed it.
Well, and
but-
obviously enough people are like you and are picking it up because 238. I mean, that's a lot of months.
Yeah, but he doesn't do it. I don't think his book does that well.
Oh well, then how?
But
is
I'm
it
not for
still
sure. Like,
here?
I'd have to, like, he's part. I think he's one of the owners of Image. Like, so he kind of has a little bit more freedom. But so this particular issue, I would
With
probably
freedom
give,
comes
like,
great responsibility, Larson.
a 200. Please stop letting me down, Larson. I love you. I love you. Please, come back to us. Come back to me.
Take up journaling
Yeah,
and come back to
Yeah.
storytelling.
yeah, and I mean, like you can insinuate things without having to show them everything. I mean, like you can.
Well, it just if you're gonna do something like that, it just needs to make sense.
Yeah.
Shock value only gets you so far, and
It really does,
it-
and
it
he's
needs
been
to be
doing it-
used very, very carefully, cautiously.
Right.
Like
But it's been like the past like 10, 15 issues where it's like every 5 minutes you turn a page and there's like some kind of awkward sex scene and she's like, I don't know, like.
oh, you
and
say
it's-
it's the porn book. Like
It is
multiple
it's like,
times.
I call
You're
it
like,
the
oh,
porn
I have
book.
to read.
When
the
I
porn
text
book.
her, it's just literally like, hey, reading the porn book.
Yeah.
So I wish he would get away from it, but
Yeah.
I mean, like it's his book, so I mean, like.
I mean,
it's
you do
his
you,
vision.
boo, but
Unfortunately, I wouldn't recommend it. The early series, I probably would. Like I said, up to issue 99 was really good.
but you have to
but
give it a unicorn
This
horn.
one I would probably give. Unfortunately, as much as I hate to do it, I'd probably give it a 1 unicorn horn.
Yeah.
Just because I don't feel like the story was really well written. I don't feel like the parts that were written were very forced,
So it's
very
like phoned in.
clunky, and it doesn't. A lot of the stuff is not necessary. I feel like to further the story, but it's
Yeah.
just in there for shock value. So that's how much. As
Boo.
no, Eric, please come back to me.
Come on. Just look
All
at his
right.
face. Look at his face. Exactly. It's a big week.
I know that
we
was
had
a big
lot
week.
of. I feel like we could just keep going, but
I
did you
know,
read
Jack.
Wildstorm?
I did. I got through all my
Look at
books,
yours.
and I even got through some digital stuff that I was like really. I got through a lot of stuff this week.
It was a big.
I plowed through a lot
like
of things.
I had quite a bit on my Aphrodite 5, which
Yeah,
I'm
why don't
really
you go through your
enjoying.
pull list? Yeah.
I'm enjoying this series quite a bit. I recommend it. Star Wars. I think we're finally getting somewhere with this particular storyline.
I don't know. Oh God, I want it to be over with.
I feel like this wrapped up some things, but it was like, why didn't we just do that the last
I know. I feel like that could have been done like 2 issues ago.
I went ahead and picked up Nightwing because I'm also reading Silencer.
What rating would you give Star Wars and Aphrodite for you?
Aphrodite, I would probably give. I'd probably give a 4. Like
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the series quite a bit. The art's good. The art fits the story. I'm enjoying that. I like where it's going. It's just kind of one of those where it's like not a fluffy read,
Yeah.
but not like a super intense read. It's just good. I like a lot of independent stuff that's good independent. Star Wars, I would probably give it a 3. I mean, it's just
Yeah, I'm with you.
I feel
3
like it's
didn't
like-
go anywhere. Didn't like the.
like
I
middle
love
of the road.
Salvador LaRocca. I love his art. Like I want to have his babies because his art is just like I love that
Yeah.
like Carrie Fisher looks like Carrie Fisher.
Yes,
God rest your soul,
well,
please.
and see I I feel like I'm always going to like err on the side of it has Carrie Fisher in it, so
I know.
I'm going to love it.
Yeah, like
But I did like in this particular story, I did like what's his name, Draven. Yeah, General Draven. You know, and there was some callback to Jyn Erso, and so I liked that just because of that story.
Yeah, I would probably say 3. I'd be with you on that one.
I picked up Nightwing. I don't typically read Nightwing, but I picked up Nightwing because it had Silencer in it, and I'm really enjoying the Silencer series.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize when I picked it up that this was actually part 2, so I went ahead because I'm like that and grabbed part 1 that I still have to read, even though I read part 2. Just smile and nod. But this is interesting. I'm enjoying it, but I'm also interested because of what happened in Batman. What's going to happen in Nightwing? So I feel like I need to kind of stay on that. So this is a solid book. I mean, I probably would give it a 3 also, just because it wasn't like I didn't love it, I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
it was just fun.
Middle of the road.
It was just middle of the road, fun book, great art.
Yeah,
the art is really good. They're really. I have to say, Dick Grayson's a very handsome man lately. Mm-hmm. He's a very, very handsome man. Wildstorm.
Yes.
This one, we've gone back and forth about this book. We really like it. I think overall we really like it.
Yeah.
This issue felt a little like filler.
Yeah, this was 17.
Yep, issue 17.
Again, like I feel like they have the Star Wars syndrome where they could have wrapped up half this junk in like 2 issues ago.
Yes.
I'm about over Lynch finding everybody. We get it.
We got it.
Yeah.
You're finding all the people.
Yeah. There needs to be
nobody. I mean, honestly, it's just like I keep forgetting about things because it's been so long since we talked about it.
Yes. I feel like there's so much more story that like has not been touched on for a couple issues that like the whole war between Stormwatch and Wildcat. It's just not that it's bad though.
It's not.
Like
it's more like a 2.5 because I will say that like the art. It's funny how when I first started this wouldn't have been an art style that I would enjoy, but I really like it for this book.
Yeah, it works well.
So I'll give it the 0.5 for that. But like from a story standpoint, I was like.
I'm ready for you to move on.
So many of these issues could have been like 2-in-1s.
Yeah, and I feel like they're on 17 and they're going to end at 24. Yeah. I'm like, you should have there needs to be more to this.
Yes.
So
I'm a little. It's a little tired.
Would you give it?
2.5.
I'd give it probably a 3.
Would you give it 3?
Yeah, I'd give it a 3.
I was just kind of like, Justice League.
Oh, Jesus! I thought you were poor Avengers.
I was.
It was just as bad.
Okay. I mean, technically, we now know what the totality is. I guess it's like a person.
I do feel like the writing in this was a little bit more concise.
It was because it was Tynan. So Snyder has been writing it. James Tynan IV is now on it.
So less abstract.
Yes.
Like I feel like.
That was actually something Zane said. He was like, well, there was structure to this one.
Yeah. I actually kind of flowed.
Yeah, I flowed.
Except for when they got to the Dark Batman, and then I got a little confused sometimes when he talked.
That's because of the dark metal universe thing. I don't understand why that happened.
I don't either. I think it's just to bring more characters in and to break down the wall.
I liked this one better because I like Tynan's writing style better. I do feel like, I'm trying to keep in mind the fact that this is Tynan's first issue of this. So it's like you can't. It's like a little bit of cleanup. And I know that he was planned though. It's like I don't think that they've been like, oh, we need to put somebody on this. I knew that Tynan was going to take over at some point.
But I do think there's still some confusing things about this. Like, who the hell did Cheetah kill? Like, I'm assuming it's Poseidon. I think it's
Poseidon.
It gets really convoluted a little bit.
The
writing was a lot different.
The writing was more concise. Yeah. There was more structure to it.
And like I said, less abstract where I can understand it. Like, I could get on board. I didn't feel like I needed a PhD in philosophy to jump on board.
But again...
I'm just not...
Nobody cares what's happening or why it's happening.
Still issue 8.
And to whom it's happening to. Like, it feels like this is an whereas with, like, Mr. Miracle, you, like, feel like this is happening in real life, in real time. Where's this happening at? On Mars? Okay, cool. They can stay there. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sadly, I feel like I sound really angry when it comes to this book, but
it's because you want it to be good. Like I really want it to be good, and sadly, like the hard part is like the writing. The art is really amazing, but you don't give a crap because like you don't even know what's going on.
I think his name's like Mikel Janine, I believe is how you say his name.
I would have to look, but it's. I mean, like I really liked the art, but I was Janine.
Yeah. Janine. I don't know. I don't care that Luthor is there. I want Luthor to go away.
I'm over it.
I don't care that Black Manta's there. I don't...
How many unicorn horns? We could be here all night if we start going through who Jenny doesn't care. Jenny doesn't care. Jenny doesn't care.
Like, it gets a 2 because I like well, like, honestly, I could almost go higher because of the art, simply because I really like his art. He's done a lot of work in Batman, and he's a stunning artist, but...
I would go 2. I would say 2 unicorn horns. I'm about...
Like, I'm almost done with this book.
I'm not
like, I feel...
I'm holding on tight.
Yeah, like, it's like I want to make it to 10. Because I feel like that's a good, like,
I want to make
run.
it to 12 because, like, my viewpoint is I like to try to make it to either 6 or 12 because that's what a trade is. So if I ever decide that, like, after issue 12 I've gotten through a trade, and if it's not good enough by then I think that I'm done.
It's safe to, like, be done. So, okay, that's the number we'll try and make it to.
That's usually, yeah.
I say try to make it to. Because...
But here we go.
I mean, like, we have trolled this book so hard.
And now on to Marvel's
version of the Justice League.
Marvel's shitfest.
I feel like this one was slightly better than last issue. Oh my god, guys. Shit. Like, last issue was so bad. So bad.
No, it wasn't that last issue. Last issue was that one story where it, like, talked about the Ghost Rider. Which
it was the annual that wasn't an annual. That's right. No, it was the issue of the Justice League that was so bad.
Yes.
See, they blend together, guys.
This one, the last issue was okay, but it was just like you're just like, why?
Why did we do that?
So this one,
especially, it's why did they do that? Because I kind of felt like maybe they were setting up to go through the old characters, which would have made more sense for why they did the issue.
And now I'm just like, now I'm even more confused because this goes right back to what.
But at least this was like team related, where you knew who the team was.
Yeah, but I didn't even know it ended. Like, I didn't know the story ended.
I know.
Like, I didn't know they defeated everybody, but that's how convoluted and lost I was. I didn't realize until this book that they had won.
Yeah. And now they have a base. I didn't know they had a base either.
Which is a dead body, which, that's so Avengery.
Yeah, right?
I don't get that.
But, so you know what, something I thought of? Alan's going to be happy with the boots.
I know. I was really excited about the Buccaneer boots.
And I think it's funny that they're kind of making Ghost Rider like the Spider-Man character.
Yeah.
Like the young high school rookie character.
I did feel like I followed this a lot. Like, much like the Justice League, I feel like it was a lot less abstract and a lot more...
which is funny because the writer is the same.
I know.
So like, I don't know why.
I just understood this one better. It wasn't like these big abstract thoughts.
There were things in it that I thought were so, like, corny, cheesy. Like,
I don't disagree.
Thor looking for the bathroom. Like...
And I just... I don't know.
Am I trying to burn the flag?
I still feel like, I feel like it was better, but it's almost a little too little too late. So, I would give it a 3, though. 3 unicorn horns.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Can I point out the fact that I felt like the whole Jennifer Walters thing is being explained more? Because my biggest, like, She-Hulk is what brought me into comics. I have had some beef with what they've been doing with She-Hulk this whole time. They kind of explain. I have She-Hulked on their She-Hulk. Because she's not dumb, y'all. But they kind of explain that in this issue.
Yeah, but...
It's still dumb.
I'm just going to let it go.
I can't let it go.
I'm glad that they're doing something with that.
I can't let it go because it's
She is happy about that. But, okay, rating. We got to get through the rest of this. All right. I would say 3. 3 out of 5.
2.5.
Okay. All right. Let's finish my list.
Oh, yeah. You have more.
I know. I still have to finish.
The rest of your pull list, please.
Let's do a pull list. So, Mr. and Mrs. X. I actually liked it.
I read the first issue, I think.
It's not anything super heavy. It's not something that's really crazy, but the art's really cute. It really works for it.
It's like an extension of that Rogan Gambit
space adventure. I didn't think I was going to like this book, but I actually do. And they've introduced a couple characters that are kind of neat. They've introduced Xavier's and Lalandra's daughter, who was genetically made. So she was this. Oh, never mind. I forget that Jenny's.
I'm X-Men
deficiency. She didn't take her X-Men vitamins.
I did not.
This
is also written by...
But this is good.
Kelly Thompson, too, right? So this is the same writer as the West Coast Avengers.
Yeah. And so I really enjoyed it.
And Dotson cover.
Quippy and just kind of fun read. So I would give that probably a 4 out of 5 unicorn horns. just
Oh.
because I really like the book.
That's
I
good.
like the writing. I like where they're going with it, so I'm like, super excited. And Kick-Ass, number 7.
Did those 2 books go together?
No.
No?
Well, I mean, they used to.
Oh, okay.
So Hit Girl came out of the original Kick-Ass.
Okay.
This is a new, completely different character, Kick-Ass. This is the other one was a short or tiny white kid, and this is a military black lady.
Okay.
So it's interesting. I honestly, it's not that good. It's okay. I mean, it's interesting that they went differently with it when they started the series. But
Is this another one of your I can't let you go? I just can't quit you.
I'm trying to make it to issue 12.
Issue 7.
But it's not bad. I mean, like, I
But
don't
it's
feel
not
like it's horrible, but it's just
Kind of looks like the silencer.
I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's just they try. It's almost like a reboot without rebooting it. So I'm kind of like, I wish almost they would make a different character.
Okay.
I think I would like the book more if there was a different character.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they actually presented it as this lady.
As opposed to it being like not a fill-in, but
Yeah, like she like takes up the identity from she
Yeah.
read about him, you know, what he did, and then she takes up this identity. So
yeah.
I actually would have been a little bit more on board if it was a different character. But
He read it. He bought it.
yeah, try it out. If you like Kick-Ass, if you like the original series, I don't think you'll like this one just because it's completely different world
from
or different. Yeah.
How many
So-
horns?
Probably 2 out of 5.
Okay.
You know, yeah, 2 out of 5. Yeah. Hit Girl.
Mm-hmm.
I do love this one. This is issue 8. This is number 4 of the 4 out of 4 for the Canada part, for the Canada arc. So she's going, so they restarted the series and she's going to different countries. The first one was,
Okay.
I want to say Italy, but I'm probably wrong. But I'd have to remember it again. I'd have to read it. Because I want to say it was Rome, or she's going to Rome. I can't remember which one it was. But this one, she's in Canada.
Okay.
And it's the last issue of the Canadian arc. I like it. It's fun.
It's fun.
I like this one better than the first 4 issues because
Like
the art's really kind of
cartoony.
yeah.
but
But
like a more serious cartoony. If that makes sense.
yeah, like
It's a-
almost like a Frank Quigley, but a little more on the cartoony side.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like has a really serious,
Yeah.
like well drawn, and then that.
Yeah. So I like the art and it lends itself well to the story, and actually I think the story's kind of fun.
Mhm.
I mean, they're quick because it's like 4 issues, so it's like almost a 4 issue.
Like minis
Miniseries.
within a series.
Yeah, exactly. And so I enjoy it. If you like Hit Girl, you'll definitely like it. If you don't like Hit Girl, you may not care for it. I don't think it's definitely young reader friendly though. It's more mature. She cusses a lot, kills a lot of things, lots of blood. Lots of blood. And then X-Men Gold.
Oh.
And I think this is the last one. Because I think the next one's X-Men Black. I know. It's like
Oh,
a
that was
week of
pretty.
crap. So they kind of do a send off, but they find a new mutant, and the new mutant like she calms, like he's destroying things, and Kitty Pryde calms him down, and the guy shoots him in the head. The human shoots him in the head because she's like, he wasn't doing anything, he wasn't harming anybody. He's like, do you see around you? And it's like all these buildings are destroyed and stuff.
Oh.
So she teleports him to the hospital, and the doctor's like, I'm not going to save him because if I try to save him and he lives, he could destroy this hospital by going crazy when he wakes up. And he goes, I can't risk everybody's life. And so
it's
she's
like moral dilemma type
yeah,
stuff.
it really is. But they ended they ended. This lady goes, I'll do it because I've been changed by your. You said you were going to change our opinion, and I've been changed by your opinion. I didn't like mutants before, but now after seeing all the things that you guys have done, So she's going to try to operate on him, but then it doesn't end. You don't know if he lives or not.
So maybe he'll show up in one of those new.
Yeah.
Because
So
they're
the next
consolidating, right?
I think they're going to do Kenny X-Men
Mhm.
and then X-Men Red.
Which we're both enjoying.
I do enjoy that.
I like it a lot. It's
Yeah.
been a really good series. I
Yeah.
think we're on issue the 6th is the one that's coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Next
and
week or something?
I think it has the same thing, like kind of like where we like the little quippy ones where it's actually got some
Mm-hmm.
heavy weight. Like I feel like Jean Grey is definitely weighted, but the Honey Badger is hysterical,
She's so
stupid hysterical.
funny.
Like it's so funny. It's like
So
she's just
good.
hysterical. But the next one's going to be the X-Men Black series where it's the villain. So I'm going to pick those up
Those
and see
look
what
funny.
they're like.
I
But
plan on picking that up as
I
well.
would probably give it a 3 out of 5 unicorn horns just because. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, middle of the road.
It's a good fun. Yeah,
It's our
if you're an
middle
X-Men
road.
fan, it's a good read. But nothing really happens. So
That's the pull list.
Yeah,
A lot of books this week.
that's our picks and all our jumbled thoughts.
all she
So
wrote.
if you can, like, share, subscribe. Also, if you are bored and want to talk to us, share your opinions in the comments.
Please do.
Yeah, tell us if you liked it, if you agreed or didn't, or disagree. If you disagree, tell us why, because we want to.
We want some healthy dialogue here.
Well, and like I mean, I always like my opinion's not always the right. I mean, it's just an opinion. But I'd love to hear like what your views are. You know, why you think we're wrong.
Mm-hmm. Or if there's any books you think we should check out that we're not currently reading
suggestions.
or not on our pull list, please let us know. We're always looking for new fun reads.
Yeah. All right. Until
It's
next
the end.
week, I hope your pull list is full and your comics are fun. Bye.
Bye.